Hello all and welcome to Market Watch with Block, and today is the 8th of September 2021 and we're going to be looking at solely Bitcoin today. We are just on the day after a pretty evil dump, as you can see right here. We'll have a quick look in the lead up to the dump and what happened during the actual dump itself, some of the possible causes behind it, and where we think September is going to be taking us. Now, as we can see here on we'll look at the 1 hour chart and then we'll move over to the daily. Of course, I've preloaded the chart as well to make it a little bit quicker for everyone to follow and not spend most of my time here awkwardly drawing on very terrible graphics. So as you can see from this very point here on the wave, and when the price was at 51,800, moving up to 52,800 region, which was about the all-time high for recent times, not including the obvious back in May, we did actually hit a very significant divergence in the price. Now, this was coupled, as I mentioned in yesterday's Market Watch, there was a rejection indication coming from the alpha volume down here, then the peak was kind of signified on the alpha wave, along with the divergence, along with a volume divergence as well, but also significantly as well, this was coming into quite a key resistance. So aside from any of the FUD, I think everybody should have been on relatively high alert. However, that's not to say a 20%, 18%, 19%, let's say 19% for argument's sake. Make all you people who got liquidated feel a little bit better about yourselves. 19% dump that incurred thereafter. So there was a couple of things behind this. Obviously, it was Bitcoin Day, and what a way to celebrate. However, as I have said time and time before, buy the rumor, sell the news, and this is a typical trick that traders, pro traders and institutions use. They let everyone get lured in to these big significant days of adoption, of accumulation by big companies, whatever, whereas the reality is they're just lining you up for a big crash such as this. So always be wary of something so obvious. After that, there was a lot of leverage traders going hard on longs here at the moment, and once the first kind of batch of longs got liquidated, then it was kind of went into free fall somewhat, as well as institutions kind of like really driving that down as well. I think this is probably potentially we're coming into a final phase of accumulation for Bitcoin before it starts to really pump. So whilst yes, there's going to be a lot of people out there hurting from getting liquidated or losing, or feel like they're losing money with their portfolio balances going down massively. Look at this as a plus. This is kind of a very long-term dip at the moment, and we're in a very good phase for accumulation for Bitcoin, and amongst many other high caps. Sol, Cardano, even XRP as well. There's a lot of news around about it at the moment. And of course the other big hitter as well, Ethereum. However, like we came down here, and what was quite exciting about this, for those of you using DCA bots during this, certainly in spot, would have made a horrendous amount of money yesterday. But we bounced from the 43k region, which is again very significant support. We'll look on the daily and you'll see. But we bounced right back up to this key support, which was popped on the chart yesterday. And if you look back, you can just see that this is just such an area of action from bounces, from accumulation and consolidation. Sorry, not accumulation, consolidation. And it's done the exact same thing here. Now, what we did see actually was a bit of a bear flag, kind of came down, it bounced right back up. Let's just ignore that insane wick. And we consolidated here for a little bit. And we sprung down, but again there were some buyers there to bring it back up, and we seem to be in, I would argue, a small ascending triangle pattern. There I popped on a new little ghost candle function. I thought it looked pretty cool. It's not new, it's new to me, but it certainly beats these luminous lines that I'll usually put on. But as you can see just here, it's pretty cool, as it looks to me. Everything looks to me like an ascending triangle, to be quite honest, but quite specifically just around here, if we were to use this kind of consolidation bit as a bit of your resistance, this ridiculous wick down here, this pretty crazy wick here, we're currently dumping a little bit right now, but I kind of think there's going to be some buyers coming in. I'll pop the indicator on the actual overlay in a minute, and you'll see what this dotted line is all about. It's quite interesting to see where these bounce. Yeah, so we could rattle around here, especially on this key resistance at the moment. No longer support, unfortunately, guys. And we may do one of two things. Obviously, I'll move this prediction line back a little bit, which was there, and it's kind of going down a little bit. So it's on point so far. And we'll rattle around here, which means I think we'll pop up, but I do think it's going to be a false breakout, and we're going to get rejected pretty hard. So let's flip on the indicators and see what this dotted line is all about. The alpha prime is the one that we'll be going for. And hey ho, it's the 50 DEMA. And I added on the dotted line here back yesterday. And as we can see, we hit it and we bounced perfectly. So, hey, I don't know if you guys kind of believe in, these self-prophesizing support and resistances such as EMAs or Fibonacci's or, monthly pivots, weekly pivots, whatever. They do, hit pretty hard, and they do ring true quite well. So we're still trading above the 50 DMA even after a wholly 18% dump, even though it bounced back up, which is insanely positive. Now, I have said time and time before, if we're trading above 46k, then we're still in a pretty good long-term upward trend. We're not kind of hitting new lows, which is pretty important. So getting our head back above 46k is going to be relatively key to how Bitcoin plays out. Now, unfortunately, we are against the whole rectangle concept, and it could not be playing out more perfectly for that theory. Staying around about this area, I think we're going to, unfortunately, bounce around here and actually dump down to probably 43k. And worst case scenario, I think in this little cycle is going to be 41k. And if so, I don't think for very long. But this is kind of my short-term prediction for now. As you can clearly see, it's quite surprising that actually there's the alt volumes going up, Bitcoin prices was going up in the kind of moving average sense, and dominance is going down. So in theory, there should be some volume going into alts. But I'll be surprised to see. We did have a little bullish divergence down here, as you can see as it's listed on. Although I wouldn't be paying too much attention to it right now because it is in the hourly, but it did ring true almost perfectly on that 50 DMA. We are just horrifically oversold on many different areas, although I'm not really taking that into account. When we see kind of massive crashes like this of like 15-20%, of course we're going to be oversold, obviously, but it's just there's so much external pressure that's occurring there. There's something else going on behind the scenes that I wouldn't be solely relying on technical indicators right now. In fact, I'm not even trading right now because it is a bit of a wrecking ball out there at the moment. So just hold fire until we start to see a little bit of chillaxing from Bitcoin. So let's have a quick look at the daily. And again, I've kind of plotted on all your lovely lines and diagrams and indicators and what have you to help get a bit of a read on what's going on. So we did have a very significant bearish divergence hit here. Again, this reinforces the hourly chart where we had 4 signals going into resistance. We've got a bearish signal, bearish divergence appearing here as well. So, like I said, am I surprised there was a dump? No. Am I surprised that it was an 18% dump? Yes. I think pretty much everyone in the world was, apart from maybe some of the people who were behind it. But, all in all, it's like, I always say, guys, look at the forest and not the tree. We want to be trading above 40k, coming out of September above 40k, I think will be quite good. What do I predict over the course of September? Well, here's the 1st, and here is the 1st of October. Here's the 1st of September, here's the 1st of October. Yep, we've had a dump as expected going into September because we, rectangle and all that business. I do think we'll kind of track down to around about the 41k region at some point, bounce there. Why? Because the 200 DMA there, arguably the strongest of all the DMAs, is going to be sat there as well. So I've got a feeling a lot of people are going to be putting their buys there, which will put it in a trajectory towards that kind of key resistance of about 47, 46k, which at point I think we will wrestle around there and consolidate until come October. Glorious October. where we will pump not only to the moon, but to the moon and beyond, or at least 55k, which I'll be pretty happy with. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. Of course, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification button so you can see all of the market watches, the news with blocks and the dojos with Reggie George as they come out, and you know, be a better trader because of it. So boys and guys, patience pays.